Welcome back to the Arise TV, where we speak to the newsmakers as well as ordinary people doing extraordinary things around the world and featuring the voices at the heart of the conversations. I'm Sumner Sambo. Now, Nigeria's President Muhammadu Buhari has unveiled what his government has called the world's largest rice pyramids. The pyramids are aimed at showcasing the government's efforts towards boosting rice production and to make Nigeria self-sufficient in food. It was one of the main electoral pledges that Buhari made when he took office in 2015. The bags of rice for the pyramids were collected from farmers across Nigeria, whose efforts to increase production received financial backing from the central bank in a scheme known as the Anchor Borrowers Program.
The significance of today's occasion can be better understood by looking at the various economic strides the administration has achieved through agriculture. When we assumed the reins of leadership of this country in 2015, the administration identified the Anchor Borrowers Program as an essential policy instrument for achieving economic diversification through agriculture. To achieve this, the Anchor Borrowers Program was designed to encourage investments in agriculture and empower smallholder farmers as drivers of transformation in the agricultural sector and as critical enablers of economic growth. I am indeed delighted that the Anchor Borrowers Program continues to receive commendations since its introduction 6 years ago, as it has become one of the reference points in the administration's agricultural revolution effort. In fact, the program speaks loudly in its giant strides as it has increased access to finance by our rural farmers who, before now, were virtually excluded from the financial system.
So will these pyramids lead to a reduction in the price of rice, as the government has said, and tackle the rising food and living costs in the country? I have in the studio with me the National Vice President of the Rice Farmers Association of Nigeria, Emmanuel Anoh, and Arise Analyst, Amadi. And I'll start with you, Emmanuel. I mean, a lot of Nigerians are congratulating you for what you have done. I mean, it's like a return to the granite pyramids, but just the way others are commending you, that's how others are giving you knocks. And they're like, if it's indeed true that these rice pyramids are by our local farmers, how come the price of rice keeps, going high? So how do you have this mixed grill of conversation by Nigerians?
Well, let me start by congratulating the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, President Muhammadu Buhari, who I will call him a godsend to bring good governance to the people of Nigeria. Right from his assumption of office in the year 2015, he rolled out the drums for the agricultural revolution, and with greater emphasis on the rice revolution. And after you see the introduction of the Anchor Borrowers Program, which is a program to finance smallholder scheme for the cultivation of various value change. And of course, those of us as rice farmers, it has really impacted greatly on our cultivation of rice. And I tell you the truth, if not that God gave us a president that has his heart, for the good of Nigerians, and who saw the future, knowing that the bedrock of a sustainable economy dwells on agricultural development, and decided that he wants to focus his administration on rice production. We would have faced a lot of crises, especially during the COVID era, because nobody knew that we're going to have a pandemic. And you know that the borders are closed and Nigeria is not importing rice. But then we're able to feed Nigerians during that period. So I tell you the truth that what Mr. President has done great for the people of Nigeria.
But
now,
that's
about
why
the price
I
of
asked
rice.
you, a lot of Nigerians keep asking, why is the price not going down if production is going up?
Good. You know, I said it, and I need to repeat this and put it on ground. And it's good for that, so that it will correct the system. One thing that bothers government, and of course that it bother even those of us who are members of the first Rice Farmers Association of Nigeria, is the fact that we are focused on ensuring that Nigerians eat quality rice at affordable prices. Nigerians are cultivated. The hectareage on that cultivation within the past years since President Muhammadu Buhari came into office has increased tremendously. And we are cultivating and harvesting good quality rice for Nigerians to eat. But then the price of rice keep on going up. Now, after making adequate finding, we realize that we have the middlemen, the middle people who come to buy this rice. They go direct to the farmers. As soon as harvest commences, they go direct to the farmers with the purpose of going to buy this rice to go and mill and sell in the market. After buying this rice, they decide to put this rice in warehouses and create artificial scarcity. And it is this artificial scarcity that causes the price of rice to go up each time. It is on this realization that since about the year 2018, the Central Bank of Nigeria called the attention of the Rice Farmers Association of Nigeria and decided that the rice farmers should begin to aggregate their rice production, put it together, and the CBN, as soon as after this pyramid is done, the CBN will sell this rice to the millers at affordable prices so that they control the price of rice. Very interesting
submission you have there. Now come to you, Dr. Sam. We hear the CBN actually saying that we have risen from 5.4 million metric tons in 2015 to over 9 million metric tons in 2021. And Nigeria's rice imports have dropped drastically. Would you describe this as a silent revolution that is ongoing and Nigerians are not necessarily aware of, or they just don't feel like giving the government some kudos in that aspect?
Well, governments always struggle, not just Nigeria, with trying to measure what they are doing and perception or impact on citizens. So oftentimes citizens respond differently. And you're right, the issue around pricing. The first is that the rice revolution, whatever I call it, revolution quote unquote, is the right way to go. The previous government had a rice pyramid. I had called a picture where Jonathan took a picture exactly with the rice.
We saw
just
the same rice issues.
And so the question is, this government has taken further the commitment to agri development. I can say that right from Obasanjo, we've had consistent focus. Even since 1960, we've been thinking that Nigeria will take advantage like Korea, Malaysia, even Canada, Israel, so other countries that use agriculture to drive a much more coherent economic development. We've not done that. So food sufficiency, the way we define it, is okay, we're doing well. But again, if you come back to the issue of scarcity, it could be the price is high. Maybe the middleman crisis is exactly what Joe Biden talks about the U.S., about supply issues around, middle traders exploiting. But again, look at the quantity and the demand. With the closure of borders and some of the effort to stop importation, okay, it might be that we still need to expand production to capture the degree of demand. That could be one driver. The second driver will be issues around logistics, delivery, and of course, added cost from farming, harvesting, milling, and other processes before we get to the market. So we need to think around how do you, for example, all the issues around our roads, or the issues around conflicts around the country, they can add up. But stepping back would be, again, do you need this level of logistic costs to showcase a pyramid?
I mean, bringing all the rice from
the optics may be nice, but the cost implication, and of course, it doesn't speak well. It doesn't change the game. Well, the fact that we are improving rice production.
That's in charge, and I'm very sure CBN is not short of money to bring all this. But I just want to come to you now on this bags of rice that we've seen in these pyramids. I just want to ask, what actually happens to this after the commissioning or the inauguration of it by President Buhari? A lot of Nigerians were asking if the government was going to give it out free. What are the rice farmers doing? Have they donated this to the CBN or to President Buhari to hand it over freely to Nigerians, or people should go and purchase it?
Before that, I'd like to put it on record.
Okay.
The rice you saw in this pyramid the world's largest rice pyramid that was unveiled today by President Muhammadu Buhari is a very small fraction of the harvest that was made by rice farmers in Nigeria.
So this was just a symbolic show.
Just a collection from rice farmers as payment for the loans that were given to them by the Anchor Brewers program. Just a collection, about 0.0005% of what the farmers cultivate. And let us also note, what we have here is not rice collected from the rice farmers all over Nigeria. It's just within the Abuja zone, Abuja agricultural zone that was collected and that were doing this pyramid.
And that's
Last
like from how many states?
It's a record. We did rice pyramid in Benin Kebbi in Kebbi State. We did rice pyramid in Gombe State. We did rice pyramid in Minna in Niger State. We did rice pyramid in Ado Ekiti in Ekiti State. And let me also inform you, in about the next 1 or 2 months, we're also going to do another rice pyramid, perhaps in the south-south or in the south.
Yeah, but just before you land, I mean, there was
small.
this rice pyramid that was done in Ogun State that we saw some wood or whatever, I mean, inside the pyramid itself, that led to a public uproar. People were like, why would you actually do that? But with this particular one in Abuja, you have tried to, say that it's not really that way, and you've been very open about it.
Well, this is a different concept I'm hearing from you. Some days ago, I heard from some people that the pictures that are trending on social media.
Yeah, I mean, you could see those pictures.
Are the pictures that came from the Abuja rice pyramid. Let me tell you, these are all fake. These are all the top columnists, those enemies of Nigeria, and who shall be treated as pure enemies. These are the people that want Nigeria to fail. And let me tell you something.
Do they include some of those who were importing rice before?
If you are succeeding, if you are growing, and you do not have people throwing stones on you, it means you are not doing well. You must have people throwing stones on you. Those stones are done by social media people just to cause distraction.
All right.
What's happening in Nigeria.
And I was asking you, do they include those who were previously importing rice who no longer have that privilege?
No. I don't know where they come from. But of course, you have a lot of people who are doing social media and doing all sort of things. The rice pyramid, I think I'm going to show you a picture. The making of the rice pyramid is real. It starts from single bag, and then to millions of bags put together until it comes up as a pyramid.
All right, just hold on. We'll have to go on a short break. When we come back, we'll talk about all of this rice pyramids development and how it adds value to the Nigerian economy, including answering my question on what will happen to these bags of rice at the end of the day. You're still watching the Arise interview. Plenty more still ahead. Stay with us. Welcome back to the Arise interview. I'm Sumner Sambo. So President Buhari has unveiled the mega rice pyramids, an initiative aimed at reinvigorating the agricultural productive base of the country. The rice pyramids bear a resemblance to the pyramid-like structures made from groundnut sacks in northern Nigeria when agriculture was the mainstay of the country's economy. So can these rice pyramids uplift the economy, create jobs, and reduce reliance on imported food, much like the groundnut pyramids did decades ago, when they were considered a symbol of wealth? And the Vice President of the Rice Farmers Association of Nigeria, Emmanuel Anoh, and a rice analyst, Dr. Sam Amadi, are still with me in the studio. And I come to you, Dr. Sam Amadi. You could hear some of the posers there. Do you think that this has the capacity to actually reinvigorate our economy and lift us better into full food sufficiency? Because President Buhari keeps preaching, go back to the farm, go back to the farm. But in the aggregate of it all, we are seeing just smallholder farmers. We're not seeing the large commercial farmers that really move the country to a bigger position of agricultural self-sufficiency.
I think I support the vision of smallholder farmers. You know, if you look at the economic development in Asia, East Asia, smallholder farmers has the capacity to create a more holistic transformation of, rural economy, improve livelihood. Oftentimes, the error is to focus on large-scale commercial farmers for export, and so you have the kind of this disaggregated economy where the individual billionaires from farming, but you still have large degree of poverty. So this can create jobs. It can also improve local rural economy. But the critical thing is access to capital, which the central bank is doing, access to extensive services, as like in the past, help them understand use of technology in agriculture and all that. But again, stepping back, how the agricultural revolution is mainstreamed in a large economic leveraging. So you move from rural agriculture, you move to agro-processing, agro-business, they move to manufacturing. So if we see that strategic move, so that we don't just end up with central bank disbursing funds, some farmers moving from small scale holders to billionaires or millionaires, and then you don't have that capacity that this become part of a new industrial revolution. So we can learn from Korea, we can learn from Israel, we can learn from even developed economies like Canada. But the central thing here is whether we're improving productivity per hectare, which is what I see they're talking about in terms of more hectare coming to cultivation, whether improving quality of output, exportable quantity, then move that to finishing, to agro-processing, and then it can instigate.
But there's been, some criticism of the Anchor Borrowers program also, that a lot of the farmers do well in paying, and a lot of the farmers also don't do well in paying. Yeah, so how do you think we can reverse that culture of getting loans from the CBN or the government and just treat it like one of those things, we need to marry more wives and all of that?
Exactly. Now we get to targeting. First, what's the design? If it's politicized, if it's part of creating a political constituency, that's wrong. But if you see it as commercial success, and so you begin to rate those who access this fund on ability to pay back, I'm not sure how well that's done. Secondly, is when you now see that the rate of non-payment is high enough, then the question is what drives it? Oftentimes lacks supervision. Oftentimes we are giving to those who don't have, and again, you have to control for failure. In all of this, even in IT venture capital, whenever you have this kind of funding, there are going to be significant rate of failure at the beginning. So you learn from it, and then you begin to, in a more strategic way, choose winners and losers. So those that can pay back now have access more. Those who cannot pay back or who have saddled with cultural mindset, marrying more wives, having more children, you will not exclude them and
free
make
money
sure
from the government.
Exactly.
And I'll come back to you, Emmanuel. How faithful have your members been, the Rice Farmers Association of Nigeria, in repaying these loans, from the Anchor Borrowers program of the central bank?
Well, our farmers, they have been doing very well, very well. Just like you asked the question, where you said, you would like me to give an answer to that question. Like I said, the rice pyramid,
yes, what actually happens to the rice pyramid
is a repayment for the loans that were given to smallholder farmers. Now that this rod, you see it in the pyramid, the rice has been handed over to central bank as repayment for the loan given by some of the smallholder farmers. Now, this rice now belongs to the central bank.
Oh,
the central bank will allocate this rice to Millers Association, to millers, most of the millers around the country.
I wanted to get that very clear. This rice that we have here is not milled yet.
It's not milled.
It still needs to be milled.
Yeah, they call it paddy.
These are just rice paddy.
Rice paddy, okay. 100 kg bags of rice paddy each that you have there will have more than 1 million bags of paddy that you have in that place. Now, this will be given to the miller. The Miller Association will mill the rice and then will sell it to the market at affordable prices.
And then return the monies back to the CBN.
Return the money back to CBN. Okay. So that is repayment.
So we deal
with a cashless program whereby the farmers receive the loan through input like fertilizers, improved rice seeds, agrochemicals and other materials, and then they repay the loan by bringing their rice paddy. That's a cashless program.
So that's a good way Nigerians who have thought that by going to this event that they will go back home with bags of rice.
No. But they, again,
have a field expectation.
Yeah, again, let me also put it on record. Like you mentioned, the issue of income, employment generation for our people. This is just a fraction of the rice collected from the farmers. Now, what happened to the abundance of rice harvests that the farmers harvested? Because remember, before now, we used to have a harvest of about 2 tons per hectare, sometimes even less. 2 tons per hectare means about 40 bags or 50 kg. But right now, we have been able to achieve a harvest of 4 to 5 tons per hectare, which means in 1 hectare of rice farm, one can afford to get up to 100 bags of rice.
Has gone higher.
It has gone higher.
Okay.
Now, if you listen to our able president, our dear President Muhammadu Buhari, who spoke today, the desire of government is to provide an enabling environment for farmers' harvest to increase to 9 to 12 tons per hectare, which means more money in the pockets of our people. And I tell you the truth, any sensible Nigeria, anybody who decides to go into farming, who decides to go into rice farming, of course, that is a means of creating wealth for that person.
Okay.
And you know that anybody who creates wealth will definitely employ people to work in his farm.
Very interesting. Dr. Sam, there's this criticism of the, couching of this as the world's largest pyramid. I mean, some other persons were saying that the Asians would just be laughing at us, those who produce rice in Thailand. I mean, this is just a child's play. Do you think that was a political gimmick?
I think it's actually primitive symbolism. Basically, I mean, we shouldn't be going to those things. Yes, we should have granite pyramid. Even if they do the pyramid, the idea of the world largest does not really, make anybody feel, oh, wow. What everybody's looking for, like it says, increment in productivity. If tomorrow we become competitive, if tomorrow we become the largest exporter of rice in the world, in Africa, that's improvement. So the pyramid, the symbolism, just like, for example, we have the biggest regatta, the largest orchestra, the most colorful, we'll go to the World Bank, World Cup, and have the best dressed team. That's not the point we should look at. We should move into functional efficiency. We are getting the biggest yield, like it's saying, we are getting the largest export. We have the cheapest rice in Nigeria because we have enough quantity. And that's
right. But I will go to you now. What sort of symbolism were you trying to drive alongside the CBN when you described this as the world's largest rice pyramid and all of that?
I want us to recall that in the year 2021, Nigeria became the largest producer of rice in Africa. Now, Nigeria being the largest producer of rice in Africa, so Nigeria now represents Africa when it comes to competition around the world. And of course, it's known that it's only here that we have this pyramid. You talked about Asia. Asia has not shown us their own pyramid. So this is our pyramid.
I mean, Thailand,
so Nigeria is the largest
other countries
producer
have been feeding
of
the
rice
world
in Africa. So the pyramid that you find here in Nigeria is the world's largest rice pyramid that you have. Yes, because this is we are the largest. We have the biggest production of rice.
Okay, gentlemen. Very quickly, in less than 30 seconds, how do you think this will solve the problem of hunger?
Well, I think if they're able to deal with the other logistic issues that drive price high and increase production, because the demand with exclusion of import, we need greater demand. So that could help to bring down the price, and then of course access to
all right, and to you.
Let me sincerely commend the Unity Bank of Nigeria. Unity Bank has demonstrated resilience.
I think we should be talking about the central bank here now before you engage in advertisement.
Unity Bank, because central bank used the Unity Bank as a tool, as a working tool.
Well, it's not only
and
that.
they've done so
we're talking about how to address the issue of hunger.
Now,
how will this do
like
that
I mentioned earlier on, we're able to overcome hunger virus during the period of COVID. And then we're going to, we are working hard enough to ensure that there's no hunger that will come to Nigeria, whatever the circumstances.
8 million people poor by World Bank because
of
inflation.
Very interesting indeed. Emmanuel Anoh, Vice President of the Rice Farmers Association of Nigeria. We must thank you for coming on the show alongside Dr. Sam Amadi, Arise News Analyst. Well, that's how it's been for this edition of the Arise interview. Do join us again tomorrow. From me and the entire team here in Abuja, goodbye and thank you for watching. I'm Sumner Sambo.